Have you ever felt like a kid waiting for Christmas morning to arrive, eager and anxious and super impatient? We all know what it feels like to look forward to something like the holidays and time with family, or a long-awaited vacation and a break from the everyday grind. We are impatient at how slow the hours and days and weeks pass by as we just wait. I've been thinking a lot about waiting and how it seems like more and more we're always waiting for whatever is next. And oftentimes we're irritably waiting. We seem to live by our calendars, planning, waiting, shuffling our time from here to there, trying to check off our to-do list and yet never quite getting it all done. We spend our days waiting for the workday to end so we can head home, just to find ourselves waiting in traffic, or waiting in the grocery store line, or waiting for dinner to be done, to get the kids to bed, or even waiting on the laundry. All this waiting can really test our patience, create stress, and becomes a burden. Or maybe we find ourselves waiting for a loved one to come home for the holidays, or from the hospital, or from deployment. We watch the hours and days tick by, holding our breath until the moment that they finally arrive. We wait for so many things in our lives: phone calls from the doctor, treatments to start, a new job, or a new relationship. As I began to think more deeply about this time that we spend waiting, it occurred to me that a lot of our lives are lived just waiting. So I decided to do a little bit of research, and what I found was that we actually spend an average of 282 hours per year waiting in lines, waiting for people who are late, and waiting in traffic lights. While that seems like an absurd amount of time, these hours don't even count the time we wait on phone calls, wait for our web browsers to load, or even wait for a commercial to end so the show begins again. So what can we do with these 282 hours of waiting besides just waiting? Could these hours be more useful? Maybe a time of spiritual practice instead of a waste of time. Often the only time we really begin to talk about the concept of waiting is in Advent, when we begin the journey towards Christmas, and we think about Mary and Joseph and the days of waiting for Jesus to arrive. It seems to be the only time that we longingly look at waiting, because we yearn for the gifts of hope and peace and joy and love to arrive. Well, I think these 282 hours are a precious commodity that we are vastly undervaluing. So much more could be done in these hours besides being irritated and annoyed. In fact, author Jeannie Ewing says that just that. She writes that for some, waiting is nothing more than stillness and boredom, perhaps even frustration. But for Christians, waiting is much more than that. It's an experience that becomes spiritual when done with God. In fact, author Jeannie Ewing says just that. She writes that for some, waiting is nothing more than stillness and boredom, perhaps even frustration. But for Christians, waiting is so much more than that. It's an experience that becomes spiritual when we do it with God. Imagine if we took a few of those moments each day when we find ourselves waiting, and instead of being angry, we saw them as a gift. Instead of a burden, they become a blessing. Instead of a waste of time, they allow us a chance to be still and to recognize the holy around us. These hours of waiting could become the moment that we hear God's still small voice break through the noise of our daily schedule. We could do so much more with those 282 hours a year if we just shifted our focus a little bit. It's not like we can really do much more when we're stuck in traffic anyway. So what if those few moments focused on what the psalmist says? I wait for the Lord, my whole being waits, and in his word I put my hope. But how does our whole being wait? I imagine it to be a time when we feel our whole body relax and we feel a sense of calm. When do you feel a sense of calm? Maybe it's when you close your eyes and inhale the cool, crisp air of a fall day. Maybe it's when you sit in the warmth of the sun as it shines on your face. Whatever it is for you, the next time you find yourself waiting in line or sitting in your car, try to find that place of calm where your whole being is no longer irritated, no longer frustrated, but instead you've become present and aware of the ways in which your whole being waits. Breathe deep, clear your mind, relax your shoulders, center your heart, and just be. It sounds like such a better way to wait than being stressed and frustrated. Well, the psalmist goes on to say, and in his word I put my hope. What is hope, and how does that have anything to do with waiting? Soren Kierkegaard said, hope is the passion for the possible. So in this moment of calm, when we surrender our whole being to the act of waiting, we open ourselves up for the possible. Think about it. Are there struggles or questions that are weighing you down? Are you contemplating a change in your life or facing a new diagnosis that you're not sure how to deal with? Well, these moments of waiting, these moments when our whole being stops, calms, and waits, and we become open, that is the moment when the passion of possibility could happen. A moment for God to speak to us. When we open ourselves up to the possibility for the divine to give us a sense of hope, we open ourselves up for the possibility for creativity, imagination, and new direction. These are the moments that could inspire us, that could deepen our connection with God, and that could allow the Spirit to move us in a new way. In this season of tinsel and sparkle, hustle and bustle, what if we shift our focus to the beauty of waiting? Let's embrace those special moments as gifts where our spirits are lifted and our energy is restored. These little nuggets of time can offer a chance to breathe, a moment to become open to the possibilities and to experience the unfailing love of God. Just imagine what would happen if we didn't stress about the moments that we had to wait in line or wait at a stoplight, and instead we longed for the chance to wait. What if we looked forward to the chance to slow down and just see God around us? Oh, what if we just stopped and waited with our whole being? Oh, I wait for the Lord. My whole being waits. My hope is in the Lord, for with the Lord is unfailing love. Let us wait. Amen.